What up? Good morning. Whoever's tuned in, I'm pretty sure nobody's tuned in. But for the live replay, what up? Good morning, good afternoon, all of that. Woke up early this morning. It's like 8:30. I'm always up early. And a rapper triggered me. I'm going to get into it and break down my thoughts because I got to get this off my chest. What up? What up? All right. So let's get into it, man. First of all, I met this guy in person briefly when me and Dre was on tour in the UK, so far north of London, probably an hour to, I don't even remember, Norwich or something like that to perform. And this guy, Zuby, was on the bill. And he was already like getting his numbers up. Like he was already like, I feel like British artists, they definitely get it lit. And I don't know why, but like they have a whole like following and their own thing out there where motherfuckers getting like thousands of plays, you know, and like no one out here has ever heard of them. It's a whole world out there. So this dude, Zuby, triggered me. You know, it's funny. I think in his timeline too, even says there's somebody on Twitter right now scrolling, looking for something to be mad about. And I'm like, this guy's a troll. He's a troll. And I don't know, like, I'm just trying to figure him out because I feel like I've seen things before where I'm just like, is he trolling? I mean, he's highly educated. He has an Oxford graduate, you know, businessman from what I'm seeing, been an independent artist / troll for good 10 years now. And it's just interesting because my experience in the UK or just anywhere around the world, it's much different than Black American experience. I've realized that off bat. It's like as soon as I land, I'm just like, I don't feel the tension like America. You know, I don't feel the racism. It's like diet racism out there. You know, it's just like, I'm sure they have their own issues, but I'm just like, man, this must be nice to have grown up out here. And honestly, where I grew up in Montclair is kind of like that. Like, it's kind of similar like that. And it's funny because it's in Essex County. And there's a lot of things that, like, cross between the British colonizers and their bastard children in America. And they let you know where these foundations come from. But it's such a starkly difference in culture between England and America. Even though we speak the English language, and of course we were colonized by the English, like a lot of the world. But yeah, the experience is just so different. And I just find it interesting watching non-foundational Black people talk about racism and white privilege. And why did this trigger me? I'm just scrolling down the line. I'm just like, oh, he's getting out here. Like, first of all, he claimed to be a transgender woman to break a deadlift record. And I'm just like, this guy he's doing some like grand things to get notoriety. And like, he's been on all these people who I'm just like, Ben Shapiro, whatever, like these weirdos like Candace Owens, like I don't even know too much. I don't get too deep into them because like I just don't like those people. But I can't what triggered me was this: white privilege is a racist concept. Let's see.
People stuff. Everyone's Black. You look at an ad, you look on TV, you look at the films, everyone's Black. It's like, because you're in Nigeria. If you go to China, same thing. You know, it's not rocket science. I've heard people say stuff like, if the shampoo in hotel bathrooms works better on white people's hair than it works on Afro hair. And again, I'm like, what country are you in? Why would you expect they're going to have some special niche Black Afro shampoo in, I don't know, Cambridge, in a hotel? And then similarly, I'm kind of like, look, if these are the things people have to complain about, like stuff must be pretty freaking stuff must be pretty freaking good.
Yeah.
If this is what you are complaining about, right? If these are your examples and this is the best.
All right, all right, all right. Just the way this guy talks irritates me. Nothing personal, man. Like, I appreciate any type of inspiration from any independent success it is what it is. I'm not hating, but one sidebar, this guy's music is the corniest, cringiest music, and I don't care. I think he just hit his 400,000 followers. It's a bunch of white people that love him across the world. And I see that, and it is what it is. He got his fan base. That's dope. I'm not trying to sound like a hater, but like literally like the cringiest music, some of the cringiest music I've ever heard. Sidebar. But he's doing his thing out there. And when people say racist concepts and racism and white privilege, why did that trigger me? I'm just like, I have privilege too, and I get that. You know what I mean? Like, I have privilege for just being a black man in America and being able to survive and having the freedom to acquire any type of knowledge outside of the bullshit they teach in school. I've gained privilege in that sense, and I've had a job to where, I can get this knowledge and actually become my own person, become my own free thinker. There's privilege in that as well. And there's all sorts of privilege in this world. But why did this man's audio clip of white privilege irritate me so much? Because I'm just like, okay, so I get triggered as a black American in the West. They are speaking from the perspective of, I guess it's called the East. I don't know. Europeans, black Europeans, Nigerian, African, British people who have a totally different experience and understanding of racism and white privilege. It's not about, for us, and speaking from my perspective, when I say the macro level of a black person in America, it's not those simple things of like our skin not being recognized. Even though it's funny, I was working an event, the streaming event, where the guy was describing this technology that's not recognizing black skin and how that can lead on to automatic Tesla driving vehicles that don't detect black people and will just run them over because they don't detect black people. So even something as like as cheeky as this bloke would like to say, like not recognizing our skin in hotels or not having certain things, for us, it starts off something small as that and gets bigger when black people aren't recognized. Because when we have automatic driving vehicles on the streets and this technology doesn't recognize melanated humans and kills people, I mean, we haven't crossed that bridge yet, but just trying to make a point. But it's way bigger than that out here, and I guess he lived out here for a little bit, and living out here for a little bit is not the same experience as someone like me who had guns pointed at him at 14 for just being a black man on Forest Street, a black boy on Forest Street. And that was my first experience of racism, actual racism, where you can lose your life or your livelihood or your income for simply being black. And especially being a outspoken black person like myself, who also has the privilege to think for myself. So, that was my first experience of racism. Guns pulled on me because I was a black boy with a red shirt and almost got killed. The fact that, and this guy is an Oxford graduate, and I believe he talks about statistics, and I don't give a shit about these white supremacist schools and these prestigious universities and their education or whatever they're teaching. I do my own work and legwork, and I think it's a common known fact that black people are 3 times more likely to get arrested or whatever amount of times they are to get arrested for the same crime and get more time. There's a whole long list of things that that are clear cut white privilege. But I guess the thing is, again, when we're talking on the worldwide grand scheme of things, it is different. It is different around the world. you know? So I understand that. I call myself Passport Rav. I travel. I see things for myself and teach myself based on my own work. And see that yes, racism is different in England. And if I was a Jamaican, because I'm a Jamaican American, and I'm deep into this Black American slash world situation, and even someone like Tariq Nasheed, who would clearly point this guy out to be a non-foundational Black American. This is the shit he's talking about, where he's like, these people are dangerous because they're Black and they represent Black people in these on these big, huge platforms. This guy was on Joe Rogan, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens show, all these big, huge platforms representing Black hip hop. It's like such a small perspective. He comes from this small, tiny island that controls so much of the world. England. Is it an island? I guess so. The UK is an island, right? Yeah, I guess. And it's just such a small perspective. And I've experienced it. I've been out there 3 times. And if it wasn't for the weather, like I would totally want to live out there because I see it. Like I wouldn't want to raise a family in America. I would want to raise a family in London or somewhere else because the experience is different. And I'm sure they have their own stuff going on. I know they do when it comes to politics and corruption, capitalism, all this stuff. I know there are issues, but there's nothing quite like being a Black man in America. And I'm really sick and tired of people who aren't Black in America talking about things they have no fucking clue about. You're not going to learn this stuff in Oxford, Luke. Like, you're not going to learn this stuff in a school. It's a truly experienced thing that only someone in this skin could understand and represent. Now, when we're talking on a worldwide level, yes, okay, there's privilege everywhere. And he's basically saying, white privilege doesn't exist in Nigeria and white privilege doesn't exist in China or whatever. I beg to differ, but, I've never been to West Africa, but, I see white privilege everywhere I go, especially in the Caribbean South Africa. I'm not going to say there's white privilege necessarily, but they have a say in a Black country, and it's pretty racist in South Africa also. It's like racism is prejudices and diet racism is everywhere, but there's nothing quite like America. And yeah, so yeah, this guy triggered me this morning, and I just had to get that off my chest. That the experience is it's the experience. It they are speaking from like this book university perspective that it's just not real. It's not the full story, and it's unfair. So, me looking at myself, I'm like, I'm also reactionary because I don't consider myself a low level thinking reactionary person, when I am in a conscious higher level of thinking, but like I do recognize that certain things just automatically just like gut punch me and then I have to check myself because I'm just like, all right, what is this? Is this someone who understands? Is this someone that can even talk about? Does he represent what I represent, or I represent Black Americans? No, absolutely not. Because just because you're a Black man, it's not the same everywhere. It's not the same. Just because he looks like me, this guy could look like my goddamn cousin or something. But like, like we're not the same. We don't have the same experience. Our backgrounds are different. And I don't know this man's family dynamic or what the family dynamic is for the average Black person in the UK, but it's just not the same. And I remind myself of that when I get to my realization that, listen, like, I know I'm feeling away and being triggered because I personally met this dude too. Like, he's getting famous now, and it's like I performed with this dude, and it's just like, crossed paths in this hip hop world, and He's out here. I don't know if it's trolling or if he's like it's like is he the UK Jesse Lee Peterson or Tommy Sotomayor or whatever? Like is he that version where it's just like he knows, but he's just fucking with people, trolling people to get this notoriety, which is obviously working. You know, it's obviously more successful numerically than metrically than motherfucking whatever, but you know, than the average rapper. But like, does he really believe this stuff, or you know? And I wouldn't be surprised if he does. Because it doesn't. If he does, because like again, the experience is totally different out there, and I would love to have a debate with him if he'd be down. If he ever sees this, Zuby Music, you mad lit now. Congrats to you, man. No hate at all. Like I said, this ain't nothing to do with no hate on the success or whatever. Just expressing my opinion and just letting you know, man, like a lot of people are ignorant out here and people that look just like me don't know shit about racism in America if you haven't experienced it intimately the way that I have and the way Black Americans have. And again, like this whole Tariq Nasheed foundational Black American thing, you know, that even sometimes, because according to him, he's like, look, even if you're a first generation born, if your mother and your father come from a different country, you're not a foundational Black American. And that's me. Like, I'm Jamaican, you know, like my parents are Jamaican. I was born in America, but I experienced America full on. You know, I've traveled a lot of the states of America, damn near all of them, anywhere where there's Black people. And I've experienced it. Lived here, not visited, not studied at Oxford. I lived here and experienced it. And yeah, you know, I get it. I understand why Tariq is just so hardcore against non-foundational Black Americans that try to get in on this topic struggle. I don't even want to call it a movement because there ain't no movement. Ain't nothing moving. Ain't nothing progressing. It's a bunch of people talking. But yeah, I think I said everything I just about had to say on this guy. But yeah, it's just crazy to me. Like I'm like, yo, I performed with this dude, and he's famous probably more for just talking this talk, being a Black dude on damn near on some All Lives Matter shit. You know, I'm not gonna say it's that. You know, I don't believe Black Lives Matter is all. He also said something about Black Lives Matter. That was before I forget. And he says, "Oh, it's." Let me go back and see exactly what he said. But I agree with him too. You know, Black Lives Matter is probably to me the trashiest Black movement in history. Clearly, they've. I think they've showed their true colors by now. And that they aren't for actual Black people, just another clout chasing organization ran by a non-Black person, putting Black people up as a prop. And I agree with that. You know, at least you know I'm not sitting here. I am pro-Black, but I'm not an idiot. And I also have white friends who tell me about shit that white people do. Like, which is another thing about privilege. It's like, I know what it's like to be like, for instance, I can't even remember what year this was, if this was during the pandemic or not, but I'm just hanging out with my homie that has like 90% white friends. And that's whatever. It's cool. We're hanging out in the park. And I think it was around the time they were like, I think it was pandemic because I think they were like giving people tickets if you were in the park and grouped together or something. But clearly in like Central Park or wherever in Upper East Side, white people were just hanging out in the park and just chilling and didn't get any tickets, but they were fucking with the Black people. And it was me, a couple Black people, but mostly white people. Cops rolled on by. And it's just this sense of security that you know if you're doing some foul shit with white people around you, that you're good, that I have white privilege on my side. I know what it's like to have white friends around me. And before weed was legalized in New York, smoking weed or just doing something, and it's just like, I know I'm going to be good. I know they're just going to keep driving if the cops go by. That's called privilege. You know, there's also male privilege. There's all sorts of privilege. And I ain't gonna go into it, but yeah, he said something like the problem with Black Lives Matter, or whatever. Why don't these people ever get like they be knowing what they're doing, man? They prop up these people with these all lives matter ish concepts just to get these views, get this reaction out of people, get these emotions. They know what they're doing, man. They got it out of me this morning. Broke a female deadlift record with Joe Rogan, 1 million views. Yeah, this dude is lit. He's I don't necessarily know if I would do that. I don't think like that. I don't know what kind of dude thinks like that. It's like I'm gonna show. I don't agree with these. I don't agree with these things also, but it's just like I guess he's going out of his way to show that like prove a point, and to be a transgender woman and break a deadlift record. And they lit. He's getting his career lit, man. Like, listen, at the end of the day, there are millions upon millions of rappers out here. And to get any type of success, and he's been in it for a minute, 10 years, I mean, let's see what this, no, I'm not going to play it. Y'all go check his music out. And yeah. But, yeah, man, it was funny, man. I just can't believe, I still can't get over the fact I came across this dude. If he was just some regular old random troll on the internet, it wouldn't matter to me. But this was like personal. This was like personal because like I've only been to Europe 3 times, and one of those times came across it. But anyways, thanks for tuning in. I need to start a podcast too. We're gonna talk about that. I need to get this going more consistently. But drop some likes, thumbs, comments, share it. Let's get the numbers up, man. Let's get some more traction. If you fuck with me, keep subscribing and keep following. If you don't, I don't care. You can also unsubscribe or follow or do whatever you'd like. P for that passport. We are.